You said you wanted to show me something. Yes, Mr. Ramasipidi, you said you want to say something when everybody is present.
Indeed so, my Lord. My Lord,
Yeah.
in the light of what transpired yesterday afternoon
Yes.
and the lecture and dressing down that the court gave us regarding our conduct as legal practitioners, co-witnesses, the state, court staff, court orderlies, members of police corps that guard the gentlemen before the court. From today, my Lord, I've learned something from this judgment. I'll never call this gentleman accused 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yes.
I'll refer to them as Mr. Sibia, Mr. Mzansi, Mr. Mlube,
Yeah,
Mr.
thanks.
Mapisa, and Mr.
I've also faltered sometimes and I call the accused.
Yes, yes.
That judgment says you
Yes.
shouldn't. Yeah.
So my Lord, as an officer of the court, I want to say I acknowledge my role here as an officer of the court to assist the court to come into a just decision of this case, and to do so under my zeal, because I must defend Mr. Tanzi with my blood.
Yes.
But doing so, I must do it within the confines of decorum, within the confines of respect to Brigadier Gininda, Advocate Baloy, Advocate Sibanda, my colleagues here, the interpreter, everybody that is in this building. Now, my Lord, I went to do some research because this did not sit well with me.
Yeah.
When all of us are exfoliated, and I went to do some research, and I've come across 2 case laws that are pertinent to the issue.
Yes.
The one is a KwaZulu-Natal High Court case, and I'll make it available to the court as well. The matter of Sianda Fortune, Mkhize, and others versus the state, and this is the most critical than the Goliath and Chikori matter. That judgment deals particularly, my Lord, with the Bangalore principles as espoused by the then Chief Justice Pius Langa. And it deals on the main with the conduct of the judge himself, your Lordship himself, ourselves. And I'm going to quote at length, at least when I say at length, my Lord, it's about 4 pages.
You don't want us to read that case for ourselves?
I can
Yeah,
make it
because
available.
you're an officer of the court.
Yes.
You can give it to each and every one of us.
I'll make it available, my Lord.
Please.
But at the end of the day, what I wanted to say, my Lord, is that we also here, including Advocate Mnisi, endeavor to conduct ourselves with the utmost decorum to the court. If things spill over, my Lord, today we can come and say tempers fled. We are sorry to the court, to Brigadier Gininda, to the public out there, my Lord. That's
No,
what
thanks. I
wanted to
appreciate that. I appreciate that. I'll tell you what. You remember? I don't know if you participated in that exercise. When some councils here refused to call Colonel Steyn. You remember that?
Yes.
You remember that?
Yes, ma'am.
The gentleman is a retired colonel. And I say, address him as Colonel Steyn. Some of you refused. You refused. I can even remember Mr. Ngomezulu, the late Mr. Ngomezulu, saying, why should we call him Mr. Steyn? We also have titles. And some others of you went aboard and said, you will never call him Mr. Steyn. And I said, well, I'll continue calling him Mr. Steyn. When I read this, you heard this, you say you must address a guy through his title. And then somebody, I think he made a comment that if Mandela comes here and he gives evidence, he's Mr. Mandela, something like that. This is what happens in this court. People telling the judge, you're mad, we're going to call him Mr. Steyn. You want us to call him Colonel Steyn? We are not going to do that. Am I right, sir? You remember that incident, Mr. Ngumal?
Yes, I remember.
You continued saying you'll call him Mr. Steyn.
No.
I mean, sorry.
I called him Colonel.
Yeah. You see, I remember pertinently. I don't even Mr. Ramosipidi, I think.
Yes.
I've always called every officer
Yes.
by their title.
No, I was told to go to hell. This judge is mad. I'm going to call him Mr. Steyn. Counsels telling a judge that when a judge makes an order in court, call him Colonel Steyn, even if you don't want to, because the judge who is in charge of the proceedings here says you must do so. You're going to obey that. But I was told to jump into the sea. You're mad. That's the conduct we have here. And when I make remarks sometimes about our black counsels, attorneys, maybe even judges, I'm told, Doctor, that's why I call you doctor. You are doctor now. But if you are prosecuting, I'll say, Mr. Prosecutor, fine. But if you are seated there, respect just demands that I should call you Dr. Subanda. And I do it. Yeah, so that is it. Now I've got a note here, which I was read to you. The lady, my registrar, showed me this in her phone. Hello, your phone? I've excoriated it enough. It just shut up. When did you receive this?
It was sent yesterday.
Okay. Oh, it's from Mr. Ashley Mzukela. Yeah, I'm saying it comes from Ashley. No, I see. But you say?
It was sent to me and Ashley.
Oh, to you and Ashley. Okay, fine. It's from Advocate Missy. Okay, let's read it. Dear colleague, it's not addressed to me because I'm not his colleague. May you kindly convey my humble request of leave of absence on Monday, the 9th June, 2025, to the Honorable Judge. The reason for my unavailability on this date is that I will be running the Comrades Marathon on Sunday, the 8th of June 2020, and will be driving back on the following day, being the Monday. That I have referred to. I know this may affect the proceedings in the above mentioned matter, but may I apologize in advance for the inconvenience to be occasioned by this request. Kind regards. Now this is what I talk about. Mr. Mnisi doesn't think he can write to me directly. He writes to me through my registrar, Ashley, and the lady in front here. And he says they must tell me that he's not coming on to court on Monday. He'll be running the Comrades Marathon. Mr. Ngumal, what do you think about this type of letter? I don't know, it's not even a letter, it's written in a...
My Lord, honestly, I would like to remain silent already.
No, you don't have to remain silent.
I have no comment.
Would you do that? You, would you do that?
No, I haven't. I've never done it.
No, fine. But would you do that?
No, I don't do that.
Mr. Ramosipidi?
As the court pleases, my Lord, I think the proper procedure between the communication between His Lordship is normally through the registrar. And then if Mr. Mnisi, perhaps like it arrived now, I'm not in his mind, perhaps he was still going to raise it with the court, but the proper procedure, from my understanding, is via the registrar. Is the court?
No, this can't be via the registrar. He's telling the registrar to tell me that he won't be around on Monday. Is that proper?
My Lord, that's how far I can take it regarding that submission, my Lord. Mr. Mnisi is here before court.
No, he has written this. And so I don't know what I must do, because this I'm told I'm not coming to court on Monday. I'll be driving back.
Jy het iets op die hart, ek het 'n gas saamgebring.
Yes, ek het iemand wat ek graag baie
What is this? Mr. Baloyi, what do you think about this type of address?
As Mr. Ramsipulu pointed out, I think normal courtesy dictates that we communicate through the registrar and not directly with the judge. And I think that's what Advocate Nisi had in mind. We never communicate directly with the judge, and I think that's what the ethics also dictate.
So you communicate through the registrar to tell the judge that I won't be coming to court on Monday?
Yes. I think in instances where counsel wants to communicate directly with the judge, then a meeting will be arranged in chambers and all the parties will be there. But if a party wants to perhaps convey a message to the judge, then they would channel it through the registrar. That would be the normal practice, my lord.
So I'm not going to respond. If Mr. Mnisi doesn't want to come to court on Monday, that's his business. I will be in court. And the JP expects me to be in court. Can't tell the JP somebody is going to run the marathon. So case should stop. Everybody should watch the marathon, I suppose. You know, Judge Mba is an athlete. He always runs the 2 oceans and the comrades. Judge Matopo, who's in the Constitutional Court. And it's nice to know that, amongst other things I did, Matopo, we used to alternate with this principal when he was serving articles. The same thing with Judge Mba. They're juniors to me. Even the JP himself, when I was already admitted, he was serving articles. Some of them, I got them articles. Judge Soga also is an athlete. But he will never take time to say, I'm not coming to court because I'm going to be running the marathon. Never. At the West, I know Judge Mbao would make arrangements that he must expand part of his leave during that time so that he doesn't interfere with the timetable of the court. This case, people are talking justice delayed, justice denied, 10 years, no justice, case is just dragging on. The family is distraught, the brothers, the relatives, even they accuse themselves. They've been 2 to 3 years in custody. And here's this stupid judge called Ratamokhatli. You allow a person who's representing 2 of the accused here to go and run a marathon. I must go and tell the JP. When the JP asks me, why were you not sitting, or the DJP, why were you not sitting on Monday? No, we're waiting for Advocate Nisi to come drive back to Joburg, to wherever, because he was running a marathon. This is South Africa, run by blacks. can tell you now, even if you call me an Uncle Tom, I don't think a white advocate can have the gall to ask me that. Never. Okay, you've heard me. Right. You're still under oath.
Yes, ma'am.
Sorry, can I have some more?
Thank you, Brigadier.
Hello. What's the please? Yeah.
Brigadier, just some clarification here. I would request us to go back to nearly the beginning of my cross-examination to you. You said that accused number 1 said that the firearm that in his confession, that the firearm that they allegedly used was sold to Mthobisi Sithole, and you said that Mthobisi is accused number 3. I'm saying so. Yeah, when I cross-examined him, in the early stages of my cross-examination to him, he said that accused number 1 said in his confession that the firearm that they used in the commission of the offense was sold to Mthobisi Sithole, or was sold to Mthobisi. Now, Brigadier said that Mthobisi is accused number 3. I just want a clarification on that.
Athi-ke manje-ke ummeli kunodaba ngathana ukuthi alithole ngendlela eqondile noma ke alithole kahle-ke uma ekhuluma-ke ngendaba ye-confession eyenziwa-ke umsola wokuqala-ke lapho khona-ke wona-ke njengofakazi la uthize khona-ke umsola wokuqala ngesikhathi enza udaba lwakhe le-confession wakhuluma inkulumo ekuwukuthi-ke isibhamu lesi ade besebenzisile-ke ngesikhathi kade besenza-ke lapho umthetho lulabalenza-ke isona-ke sadayisela lapho kumthobisi futhi wathona kumthobisi Sithole futhi wamchaza njengomsola wesithathu.
So, my lord, I've said the name Mthobisi is the name that is the name of accused number 3, and that's all. So the first name is that of accused number 3, Mthobisi.
Athena ukuthi zegama kaMthobisi-ke igama la kamsola wesithathu.
So what would then have been the meaning of that? What were you trying to convey with what you said, that the name is the name of accused number 3, sir?
But ngabe kade uzama ukusho ini-ke mothi igama la kaMthobisi-ke igama la kamsola wesithathu?
Is that, my lord, as much as he was misleading, but he was also closer to the truth, because the alibi, because it must be viewed in context, the alibi that we followed insofar as this Mthobisi Sithole he mentioned, we discovered that the person, which was a wrong alibi, is actually Mtuteni and not Mthobisi Sithole. It was Mtuteni, and we also obtained a statement from his father and the death certificate. So, but the essence of where I was saying is that as much as some information was misleading, for example, the mentioning of Marco and Makimbi, but somewhere there was truth, and that the name Mthobisi, which we did not know what is the surname, is the name of accused number 3. And indeed, through the investigation, the firearm that is allegedly used in the commission of this offense was then associated with accused number 3.
Athi-ke lapho khona-ke umuntu othizeni ngakhuluma-ke lapho iqiniso, kepha kade angakhuluma iqiniso lonkana noma iqiniso liphelele ngoba bekazama ukuthi abakhohliswe lapho ngoba bagcina bekuthola ukuthi igama lakamthobisi athi lona igama lakamthobisi, kepha igama lakamdudeni futhi athi bakhuluma-ke nobaba wakhe bese uthola-ke istatement sakababa wakhe futhi nencwadi yesho ukuthi yena-ke washona lapho-ke, kepha egcineni ugcina sebathola noma agcina bazi ukuthi igama lelo-ke lo muntu kade bekhuluma-ke ngalo lapho-ke kade kuyigama-ke lakamsola wesithathu, futhi nokuthi isibhamu lesi asetshenziswa ke lapho ke ngesikhathi kade kusenza kodlame lulo mhlawumbe ulaphulo umthetho olenzeka ke lapho ke kukuthi kuyaxhumana ke futhi nomsola wesithathu.
So we are agreeing, say, it's a known fact that accused number 3 is Mthobisi Mncube and not Mthobisi Sithole, not so.
Bathi ngabe savumelana yini ukuthi ke igama laka Msola wesithathu ke Mthobisi Mncube kepha ke na Mthobisi Sithole?
Yes, we do agree.
Athi yebo siyavumelana ke lapho.
Thank you, sir. Now, yesterday we were at we're at Foslo on the 5th of June 2020. The place, no, we're still at Foslo. We're still at Foslo on the 5th. The place where accused number 1 says he was allegedly driven to by Mohane, Namane and Bongani, who from Fileria, who were escorted by the traffic cops where he got assaulted.
Bathi ke ngesikhathi besikhatela sikhuluma ngodaba la khona kumsola uqala ke kade bemhambisa ke ngemoto kade noma kade beshela ngemoto kagibele kuyona ke kade khona kuMohane lapho ke futhi nomnumzana uBongane futhi nomnumzana uNcamaneke la athi khona ke bamikisa kwindawo la washaka khona.
I'm listening, my lord.
Athi yebo ngilalele.
Yes, after that assault, accused then says he was then driven to Alberton by the same Mohane, Ngamane and Bongane, and they were using a Qashqai, and they were still being escorted by the normal traffic cops.
Athi ke ngemuva ukuthi bamshaye khona lapho kwindawo kade bemshayela kuyona kumsolo qala kade khona ke uNcamane lapho ke uBongane futhi noMohane futhi kade bephelekezwa ke abasebenzi bezomgwaqo mhlawumbe ama traffic cop ke lapho ke ngesikhathi kade bemikisa eAlbertine.
I'm listening, my lord.
Athi ngilalele.
And from there in Albertine they then met actually was booking to cells, and then having been booking to cells, then somebody, the police came, take him out and took him to a gentleman who was waiting in the office.
Athi ke lapho ke ngesikhathi bekafika khona ke eAlbertine bamthatha bamfaka ngaphakathi kumasezo sebambhuka ke lapho ke ngemuva ukuthi bambhuke ke lapho ke sofika iphoyisa elithize lamkhipha ke lapho ke ngemuva ukuthi iphoyisa lemkhiphe ke lapho ke lamnikisa komunye ke umnumzana uthize kade ahlezi ngaphakathi nje kulinye igumbi.
I'm following, my lord.
Athi yebo ngilalele.
And this, I suppose, was the commencement of this so-called pointing out.
Athi ngabe athi uyasho ukuthi lokho kade kuhlelo la bezoqala khona ukuhamba ukwenza lokhomba kwabo ke lapho.
I'm following, my lord.
Athi yebo ngiyakuzwa.
Now he then says from Albertine to the place where he was instructed to point certain points, they were then escorted by TRT, by members of the TRT.
Athi lokuqhamuka lapho ke eAlbertine kuze kufike kufincele indawo akade aya kuyona ke yokhomba kuyona ke mhlawumbe abajengisa yona ke kade bephelekezwa ke amaphoyisa ababiza ukuthi iTRT.
I don't know what this TRT is. I'll have to take specific instructions from him. It only comes to my mind now to verify what this TRT is, so that I don't put something that will be deemed misleading to you. Thank you. May I approach accused? Now, Brigadier, he says, indeed, from Alberton to Flores, where he was made to certain points, they then got escorted by members of the TRT. When I ask him, what is this TRT? He says, these are members from the South African police, like it's a specialized unit, the way in which I understand him, because these were not from the Eguruleni Metropolis, no, or from anywhere else. He says these members, it's TRT from the South African Police Services, who then accompanied him. But he says there were other people as well. He can't just remember what was happening, but that was almost like it was a busy environment.
Athi-ke lapho ngesikhathi kade behamba beqhamuka noma besuka kwindawo yaseAlbertine behamba bese kwindawo yaseFosloras la kade okhomba khona-ke athi kade hamba namaphoyisa khona amaphoyisa ababiza ukuthi TRT athi abanye beqembu lezesiphoyisa amathimba lezesiphoyisa-ke lapho-ke nakazi mhlawumbe ngabasho ukuthi amaphoyisa kanjani-ke lawo-ke kepha athi kade kumatasatasa-ke ngesikhathi kade bemikisa lapho-ke kade khona futhi nabanye abantu angekhe asho ukuthi mhlawumbe kade ku-abobani-ke abantu bakhona-ke labo.
I'm following, my lord.
Now, thank you, Brigadier. You may comment if you want to.
Uyabonga futhi ungaphendula mangabe ufisa ukuphendula
up to this point.
Ukufika esikhathini samanje.
Yes, so my lord, maybe I'll just go back at the beginning to say because that was a point of contention yesterday in terms of the sport. The spot where he moved to, or where it's alleged that he moved to, that is now from Flores to Albertine. And the point of contention from my side, my lord, was that the spot that I met him in my evidence was at the police station parking. That is now the police station of the South African Police Service, which in my understanding, insofar as the version that was given to me by counsel for Mr. Sibiya, my lord, was that he moved from Tembisa using the November 3 highway, took the Phosphorus off-ramp, and then drove into this municipality area where there are a number of things. And my understanding is that in there, it was said that there may have been a parking for the police station. It was not clear whether it's a police station for the police or metro, but that was my understanding of the vision that was given to me. And I differed, so I'm starting there, my lord, that I differed with that connotation because that section of the municipality, the South African police station does not form part of it. If you go in there, you will never be able to access the South African police station of Phosphorus. You will have to drive out, turn right, past the court, and then only get to the police station. The police station is a standalone building, so that is why I had an issue of saying now. I thought he alleged that he was assaulted at a different place, contrary to where I said I met him on the 30th of May 2020. So that's my first kickoff point, my lord.
athi-ke lapho-ke ukhumbule khona nzathi ile liphuzu leli elidala ukuthi kuba khona-ke ngabana kwezolo ngesikhathi ade bekhuluma-ke lapho-ke ngoba kade khona kungazwani noma ukungazwisisani phakathi kwabo bobabili-ke la athizena la athi ufakazi khona-ke nabacanga ukuthi mhlawumbe umsoluqala uthize uma ngabe ekhuluma umnumzana uSibiya-ke lapho-ke ukuthi ngesikhathi baqhamuka lapho eThembisa police station ehamba bemnikisa-ke Foslorus athena-ke ufakazi bashayela-ke ngomgwaqo omkhulu-ke umgwaqo kathela kawayeka lapho entry ngesingisi-ke lapho-ke ngesikhathi kade behamba besiya khona-ke lapho besafika-ke wama khona-ke lapho-ke kule ndawo ethizini la bakhuluma ngayo ukuthi izena-ke indawo leyo-ke inamabhilidi kamasipala-ke lapho-ke bese athi ufakazi ukhumbula khona zathi uma ngabe lapha kuleya building lakamasipala-ke lelo-ke angekhe ukhone ekuthizeni ufikele kwisikhumulo samaphoyisa saseFoslorus ngoba uma ngabe ulaphayana-ke le ndawo lezi ndawo ezimbili futhi zahlukene futhi azikho ngaphansi kwesakhiwo sisodwa usuthi uma ngabe ulapho-ke ngaphansi kwamabhilidi kamasipala-ke lapho-ke kumele ukuthi ushayele ngomgwaqo uhambe ngomgwaqo-ke uma ushayela ngomgwaqo uhamba ngomgwaqo-ke bese uyafika-ke lapha phambili uyajika esandleni sokudla-ke uma uqeda ujika esandleni sokudla kulahlangana khona-ke nenkantolo ekhona-ke lapho-ke Foslorus-ke uma uqeda udlula inkantolo ekhona-ke bese ushayela ngapha ngale kwenkantolo athi kula ufica khona-ke isikhumulo samaphoyisa sikhona-ke lapho-ke athi lapho-ke na-ke khona-ke parking ekhona-ke lapho la indawo usho ukuthi indawo evame ukuthi-ke bayisebenzisa abantu uma ngabe behashayela imoto beya ngazo lapha epolice station noma lapho-ke enkantolo kulaba bavame ukuthizeni bamise imoto zabo khona-ke lapho-ke athi ufakazi na kulawa ahlangana naye khona-ke umsola ngaphandle kwesakhiwo noma isikhumulo seziphoyisa lapha eFoslorus kule ndawo lena-ke imisa-ke imoto khona-ke ngaphandle yilokho.
Yes. Now, my lord, insofar as the assault, the allegation that he was assaulted there and then subsequently taken to Foslorus where he was detained, I was not there. So I'm going to start on that part, that I was not there when he was moved from Valeria SAPS to Alberton police station. Insofar as the briefing I got, I did not get a briefing that he was taken to Foslorus. My understanding in the report I got back from Sergeant Mokane, because he reported back to say, Colonel, at the time, I have now booked the suspect as per your directive at ACPS Alberton. I was not given a brief that at some stage they went to Foslorus.
athi-ke mana nodaba noma iphuzu lelikhulunyile ukuthi umsolo wakhe umnumzana uSibiya washaywa khona-ke lapho-ke athi cha yena-ke ngesikhathi kade umnumzana uSibiya bemhambisa aqhamuka lapho kwisikhumulo samaphoyisa sasefileria ngesikhathi bekaqhamuka khona-ke bemhambisa bemisa ngale Alberton police station athi yena kade angekho-ke lapho-ke kepha inkulumo yena-ke ayizwe iqhamuka Mokgane athi inkulumo awayizwe iqhamuka kuMokgane-ke kuwukuthi-ke abakaze bahambe nomnumzana uSibiya bamnikise kwisikhumulo sesiphoyisa salapha eFoslorus kepha bamnikisa-ke kwisikhumulo noma ngaphansi kwesikhumulo sase-Alberton.
And furthermore, my lord, I can confirm as counsel for Mr. Sibiya says he was booked at Alberton ACPS, that indeed he was booked in the detention cells of Alberton ACPS by Sergeant Mokgane, and subsequent to that he was then booked out by Colonel Radebe. This is now at the commencement of the pointing out. However, the prudent part in this, my lord, and that is in relation to the allegations of assault, is that nowhere when he was booked in by Mokgane does it indicate that he had injuries. He had no injuries according to the occurrence book, and we have the occurrence books of Alberton. But furthermore, when he was also booked out by for the pointing out purposes by Colonel Radebe, there is also no entry that suggests that he was assaulted or injured up to the time when he was even booked back from the pointing out from Colonel Radebe. There is no entry that says he was suggested, and further to that, booked out by Sergeant Mokgane when now they took him back to Valeria. Also, there is no indication in the OB that he was assaulted. And lastly, when he was received at Valeria from Alberton, the occurrence book there does not indicate that he was assaulted or had injuries, let me put it that way also, or a complaint of that nature.
athi-ke futhi uyathanda ukuthi ebuye futhi enze isiqiniseko ngoba isiqiniseko yebo malana nenkulumo eqhamukile nommeli-ke lapho umnumzana umnisi-ke la athi khona-ke umnumzana uSibiya kade bembhukhile ngaphansi kwesikhumulo samaphoyisa sase-Alberton. Athi yebo eqinisweni yebo ngokweqiniso vele bambhukha-ke lapho-ke umnumzana uSibiya-ke lapho-ke ngesikhathi kade afika ngaphansi kwesikhumulo sase-Alberton. Futhi umuntu wambhukha-ke lapho-ke kade kuSergeant Mokgane-ke lapho-ke futhi ngesikhathi kade ambhukha khona-ke lapho-ke ngaphansi kwencwadi abavama ukuthi bayigcwalise-ke lapho lapho ke bayibiza ngegama lesingisi ukuthi occurrence book ke incwadi lapho ebhala khona ke abasolwa mangabe befika lapho ke ejele ke noma mhlawumbe kade bagcina ke lapho ke ejele ke incwadi noma kuma police holding cells ke lapho ke incwadi abavama ukuthi babhala khona ukuthi uma ngabe umuntu alimele babhala khona ke nesikhathi angene ngaso umuntu babhala ke lapho ke nokuthi ukhala ngani ukuthi ulimele ngani babhala phansi ke lapho ke athi futhi ngesikhathi umnumzana ke uRhadebe kafika kamkhipha ke lapho ke nakhona ke ngaphansi kwencwadi ngesikhathi umnumzana uRhadebe bekamkhipha ke lapho ke akukho labhale khona ukuthi umnumzana uSibiya kade alimele noma kade akhala ngokulimala noma kade anazo ke ikhalazo kade anazo ke ncamashini namayelana nodaba lwakhe ke lapho ke athi futhi ngesikhathi kade bemikisa bemthatha futhi uma ngabe sekabuya ukwenza lokhomba kwakhe lokade bemhambisele khona ke lapho ke ethathwa lapho kuSergeant Mokhane akukho la kubhalwa khona ke kuthizini ke walimala ke nangesikhathi futhi uSergeant Mokhane bekamthatha lapho eAlbertine embuyisela ke emuva lapho ngaphansi kwesikhumulo sesiphoyisa saseFiliria athi ngaphansi kodaba lencwadi bayibiza ukuthi occurrence book akukho la kubhalwe khona ke ukuthi umnumzana uSibiya kade alimele.
That will be my comment, my lord, at this stage.
Athi yileyo kuphela into angathana ukuthi akhulume ngayo kuze kufike isikhathi samanje.
Thank you, Brigadier. So the report that you got from Mokhane was, or you're saying that Mokhane never spoke about them having went to force arrest, not so?
Uthike malana nereport oyithola kuMokhane uMokhane akakaza akhulume ngabo ukuthi bona ke bahamba bayiforce arrest akusinjalo yini?
That is correct, my lord.
Athi yebo kunjalo.
Do I then have to understand that the report that Mokhane gave you was per the instruction that they needed to drive from Fileria police station to Alberton police station where they needed to go and detain Mr. Sibiya for the purposes of the pointing out?
Athi-ke manje umeli usho ukuthi ngimalana nenkulumo owayikhuluma ke noSergeant Mokhane ukuthi bathatheke lapho umnumzana uSibiya ke bamhambise bamnikise ngaphansi bamnikise bese bamgcina ke ngaphansi kwesikhumulo sesiphoyisa saseAlbertine akusinjalo?
That is correct, my lord, but in addition to that, to say he must liaise with Colonel Radebe, because I remember that I gave the number of Colonel Radebe to him, and I also gave Colonel Radebe Mokhane's contact numbers, my lord.
Athi yebo khona ke kunjalo kepha ke ukhumbule khona njalo kunala ngathi khona ke uSergeant Mokhane akaxhumane ke nomnumzana uRhadebe ke lapho ke ngembangela ukuthi ke ngabe uyena ngoba umnumzana uRhadebe kade kuye bazoyenza umsebenzi ukuthi ahambe ke nomsolo oqala bese nomnumzana uSibiya ke bese bahambe bokhomba ke lapho futhi ngesikhathi bakhuluma noSergeant Mokhane athi wamnika ke lapho ke inombolo zocingo zaka baba uRhadebe futhi nobaba uRhadebe wamupha ke inombolo zocingo zaka Sergeant Mokhane.
So, Brigadier, from where you're standing based on the report that you got from Mokhane, is that Mokhane fully complied with the instructions that you gave him?
Athi-ke mina nodaba noma nenkulumo owayitshela ke lapho uSergeant Mokhane ukuthi yena ke wasala emuva inkulumo kade umtshele yona ke akusinjalo?
Yes, it is correct, my lord, and it was supported by the occurrence book. As I said, when I collected the occurrence book, I also saw, but that was at a later stage, that indeed he did book accused number 1 at the holding cells in Alberton. So the OB, when he moved from Valeria to the time when he was booked in Alberton, it is Sergeant Mokhane who booked him in there, my lord.
Athi yebo khona ke kunjalo esale emuva ke inkulumo yami futhi khona ke isiqiniseko lapho ekade sikhona ke malana nodaba le-occurrence book incwadi leyo ke abavuma ukuthi babhale khona ke ngaphansi uma ngabe bigcina ke lapho ke iyiboshwa noma mhlawumbe abasolwa ke ngaphansi kwesikhumulo sesiphoyisa futhi nayo inaso isiqiniseko sokuthi yena ke wakwenza lokho kade ngimyalele ukuthi akwenze.
Thank you, Brigadier. You would also recall yesterday, Brigadier, that I said I will go and have a re-look into my notes and come up with something that is on record. I did that. This was in relation to who would have arranged the photographer that was utilized when the pointing out of Mr. Sibiya in the presence of Colonel Radebe was done. I diligently did that. The proceedings of the The proceedings of the 28th November 2023, 28th November 2023, which was a trial within a trial, on page number 26. This is what you told the court.
athi ke manje umnumzana umnisi baba umnumzana brigadier yakhe ukuthi ke lapho ke khona kudaba izolo akhulumile ngalo ke kepha wathi uzobuyela kulona ke uma ngaba ngahamba futhi abheke kuma notes kade ashicilelwa la ngaphansi kwenkantolo ke mayelana nodaba lokuthi ngabe ubani kade ahlelile lapho ke umuntu kade akhona ke ethubula ke izithombe ngesikhathi lesi umnumzana uSibiya kade ahambe nobaba uGadebe ke ngesikhathi kade umnumzana uSibiya eyokhomba ke lapho ke ehamba nobaba uGadebe futhi athi lo daba lo ke kade sulidiki la ngaphansi kwenkantolo noma ngaphambi kusenkantolo ngelanga la nge-28 ngenyanga kaNovember ngomnyaka 23 ngesikhathi kade khona icala ngaphakathi kwicala lapho ke athi lelo ikhasi lokho lapho ke lapho kwikhasi lesi-26 lelanga la nge-28 zakaNovember ngomnyaka ka-2023 athi wona ke inkulumo yakhe wayikhuluma ilokho okulandelayo.
My lord, now this is your testimony. Lieutenant Colonel Gadebe also was not privy to these investigations. He was never part of it before, and I've never worked with him.
Lapho kuthizena umnumzana ucolonel le Colonel Gadebe ukuthi kade angena lutho alaziyo ngicala leli futhi bangasebenzi nawo icala leli futhi wona akazi wasebenza naye ngaphambili.
My lord, I simply provided him with the case number and also made necessary arrangements for the photographer to be present on the day of the pointing out. And furthermore, that Sergeant Mohane will be the one engaging him insofar as the movement of the accused to Alberton Police Station. And I communicated such to both of them, my lord.
Lauthi zona khona kona kwenza ke inhlelo zokuthi yena ke kube uya ke ohlela ke lo hlelo lokuthi ahambe ke nomnumzana uSibiya yakhe bese ahambe utshengisa umnumzana uSibiya yakhe la kade umnumzana uSibiya bekazomkhomba khona ke bese wathi wena ke owenza ke inhlelo ukuthi umlekelele nanoma kungani kade ayidinga ke lapho ke futhi uSergeant Mohane ke kade kuye bekazokelekelela ekuthizeni ahambise ke umsolo umnumzana uSibiya yakhe ekuthizeni aye lapho kade okhomba khona.
Now you would recall yesterday that I said I don't want to go on with this if I haven't made assurances doubly sure. But this is what you said. That is at a time when then the state stood up and said and provided some evidence from the testimony of Mr. Mapakela. So I said, no, I'll bring what you said. This is just a conclusion of what I said I would do.
Athi la khona ke bakhuluma khona ke izolo ngodaba lolu ke kepha ke hlangothi lethimba labashushisi bese laphakama ke lapho ke bese kwaqhamukisa kufakazi bakamnumzana Maphakela lapho ke kepha ke thena ke akafuni ukukhuluma ke into angenaso isiqiniseko sayo kungakho bacilile izolo ukuthi sehlehlise kancane ke ngokukhuluma ngodaba lolu ke kuze kufinqike esikhathini samanje.
Yes, my lord, I hear that and I agree with that. When I said the necessary arrangements, as I said, I indicated to Mohane, and when I said necessary arrangements insofar as the photograph is insofar as which photograph works in that area where you'll be doing the pointing out. In other words, the area, the office, which is Germiston, I will went insofar as directing him to that part, but not necessarily phoning the photographer, indicating to him to meet Colonel Gadebe where and at what time, because I did not know that knowledge. But to put place to say, this is Sergeant Mohane, you'll assist with the movement of the accused. This is the office that is responsible for taking photographs in Germiston. You know, that I would have provided, but not actually arranging the photograph and the communication and the movement of the photographer. That I didn't do, my lord.
athi yebo kuyalikhumbula kudaba lolo futhi ulikhumbula kahlehle ngoba yena-ke khona-ke la kade akhuluma khona-ke ethi uzokwenza-ke iy'dingo ey'fanele ekuthizeni alekelele-ke ithimba lakhe ngesikhathi ade behamba ke bekwenza kulo msebenzi ade bewenza noma mhlawumbe ukusesha kwecala lo kade bekwenza-ke athi khumbula khona njalo-ke napho lapho wakhuluma ekuthizeni-ke abantu abavame ekuthizeni basize-ke ekuthuleni-ke iy'thombe-ke kule ndawo lena-ke abantu abangaphansi kohhovisi asejimistin-ke lapho-ke kepha thina kakhumbule ukuthi wakhuluma nomsajani Mohane ukuthi lapho-ke noma nobaba uRhadebe ukuthi-ke nayi inombolo zocingo ze-photographer-ke khona-ke lapho-ke noma nayi photographer-ke khona-ke lapho kukhulumani-ke nayo-ke kepha thina kukhumbula kahle ukuthi lapho wakhuluma khona-ke njalo nokuthi ithimba labantu abathubula-ke iy'thombe-ke ithimba lehhovisi lalapho-ke ejimistin futhi kumele ukuthi bona bakhulumisane nalo-ke yena athi akakhumbula ukuthi yena owahlela lo mhlangano noma mhlawumbe lolo hlelo ekuthizeni baxoxisane labantu labo-ke ngodaba lwabo ukuthi bahamba njani kuphi ngasikhathini bahlangana kuphi nendawo.
Thank you, Brigadier. Are you then suggesting, Brigadier, that Lieutenant Khadebe would not have known which office to contact for purposes of arranging a photographer that would have accompanied him to the pointing out?
Athi-ke manje umele usho ukuthi yona-ke babubhakade yagininda usho ukuthi umnumzana uLieutenant Colonel Khadebe kade angazi ukuthi kumele axhumane neliphi-ke ihhovisi ekuthizeni lihambe naye limsizeke noma ihhovisi labantu abathubula-ke iy'thombe ukuthi bahambe naye bamlekelele-ke ngesikhathi lesi bekahamba nomnumzana uSibiya ehamba ayokhomba lezo ndawo kade ayokhomba kuzona.
No, I'm not suggesting that, my lord. It is that is how we stand. So for example, that is why even when the confession for accused one was taken by Colonel Mboto, the request to move accused one from where he was to Colonel Mboto was made to me. So in arrangement of such, it's not an unusual. In all confessions and pointing out that I participated, even myself, where I had to conduct pointing out, because I've done that, I have made such requests where I will say, what is the area that is responsible for taking photographs in that area? So you will solicit, rather request that information from the IO. Then subsequent to that, you then make your own arrangement according to availability. But there was nothing untoward with that part, my lord. And it doesn't suggest that the person may know, may not know. It's just same as a request of saying, bring the relevant person to this spot. You ask the IO. You don't say, I'll come and fetch it. You say, you bring him to this spot, and that's where you comment. Same with a photograph. You may make a request to say, give me the relevant section or office that is dealing with photographs. Thereafter, you make your own arrangements according to the time that you want to conduct the pointing out, my lord.
Athi cha akusinto engiyikhuluma-ke leyo-ke kepha-ke ukhumbule khona ukuthi ngesikhathi lesi umnumzana uSibiya kade ahamba-ke kwenza i-confession eyenziswa-ke noma eyenza ngaphansi noma eyenza phambi komnumzana-ke lapho-ke uMbotho-ke lapho-ke kuwukuthi umnumzana uMbotho waxhumana naye ucingweni-ke ubrigadier-ke Gininda ngoba kade kuyena kade ahola-ke ithimba labaseshi becala leli-ke amcela khona ukuthi abamlethele mhlawumbe abenzeke iy'nhlelo zokuthi bawuletheke umnumzana uSibiya-ke kubona-ke futhi athina-ke ngesikhathi kusenzeka lokho-ke yena bakhuluma ucingweni ngesikhathi ade bekhuluma-ke noma bexoxisana ngesikhathi leso-ke kulawo khona-ke wabuza ukuthi ngabe yiliphi-ke ihhovisi elihamba phambili noma ihhovisi ekusube-ke kulona evame ukuthi lenza umsebenzi uthize bathatha iy'thombe-ke lapho-ke athi ngemuva kwalokho-ke usho ukuthi yena-ke wamtshela ukuthi ihhovisi leli-ke bese-ke ngemuva kwalokho-ke usho ukuthi umuntu loyo-ke usuke ehambisana nomsolwa noma ehamba nomsolwa-ke ekuthizeni benze kodaba lalo-ke uyena-ke uzihambela phambili bese enzeke iy'nhlelo zokuthi uhlangana njani-ke nethimba leli labantu abathatha-ke iy'thombe-ke lapho.
Thank you, Brigadier. Now, I said I'll come back to the issue of Lieutenant Colonel Mboto or Colonel Mboto as well. Now, just love to extract what Colonel Mboto told this court. On the 13th of October 2023, those are the proceedings.
Yes, my lord.
On page 66, this is what he told this court while being cross-examined. by Mr. Ramusipili. He says to the court, okay, Mr. Ramusipili, ask him. Indeed so, my lord. Colonel, when Brigadier, at the time, Gininda asked you to assist with the taking down statement, was it for the first time that you have had such a request from him? Then Mboto says, specific for him to take a call and call me, it was the first time. Did you know him as a person before Gininda? The answer from Mboto is, I knew him as a police officer. Close.
Athi-ke lapho khona ke inkulumo lapho Lieutenant Colonel Mboto wayekhuluma ke la ngaphambi kwenkosi enkantolo ke ngelanga la nge-13 zaka October ngomnyaka ka-2023 lapho ke ngaphansi kwekhasi le-66 ke lapho ke ngesikhathi ade kubuza ke imibuzo lapho umnomzana Ramusipili ekuthizeni ena ke ngabe mhlawumbe kade koqala ke ukukhuluma nawe ke usathena malana nocingo ade aqala ukukhuluma nawe futhi baqala ukukhuluma nawe ngecala leli ke kepha bambuza futhi ukuthi ngabe kade akwazi yini athi yebo kade akwazi njengomunye oza kwabo suthi njengomunye osebenza ngaphansi kwesiphoyisa.
It's what I said, my lord. I did say that I know him as well. I indicated that the first time I knew him, I think he was a branch commander in Cleveland. So he is saying that I knew him as a police officer. I'm not so sure whether I should comment to something else, my lord.
Athi yebo naye ufakazi lokho akhulumile ukuthi nekade amazi ke futhi ngesikhathi baqala kumazi wamazi njenge branch commander elapho ke Cleveland.
Thank you, Brigadier. I note that you not commenting about him saying that never worked with you before.
No. But that's why I said I agree with him, my lord. It's what I've said. I've never worked with him before. That is the position. I've never worked with him as well. I agree with him, my lord.
Thank you. And indeed, on the 22nd of January 2024, on page 49, you are confirming exactly what you're just saying now, why it's been cross-examined by Mr. Mgomezulu. Mgomezulu put it to you as follows, and you said you did not know Colonel Mboto. Am I correct? And your answer to that question was, no, I said I have never worked with him, and he was not privy to the investigation.
Khona ke la ilanga kade ubuza ke imibuzo ke oseleke akwashona ke lapho kumnomzana ngoMezulu ngesikhathi akubuza ukuthi ngabe uthize ngabe awumazi yini ke lapho kumnomzana okhonolo Lieutenant Colonel Mboto ke izothi na cha uyamazi kepha akakazi wasebenza naye ngaphambili.
Indeed, my lord, that is correct. The only person that I recall that I've said, and that is the position that I did not know, was Colonel Rapadu. That was the first time I spoke to him when he assisted me, and it was the first time I met him when I fetched the confession from him. But insofar as Mboto, that has been my position, my lord.
Athi yebo khona ke kunjalo kepha ke kunomunye umuntu othize lapho ke uColonel Rapadu uyena kade ngamazi futhi yena bayaqala ukumbona ngelanga leli kade ehamba ayakena ke ethatha iphepha le confession kena ke athi beqala ukumbona futhi bayaqala nqa ukusebenza nake ngesikhathi leso ke kepha ke akufani nodaba la kwaMnomzana uLieutenant Colonel Mboto.
Now, thank you, Brigadier. With that in mind, let us proceed to the next phase of that issue. Now, Brigadier, is it correct that in the course and scope of your duties, you also did some cases that were reported around Meadowlands and Cleveland around 2014?
Athi ngabe kuyiqiniso yini kizolethela senza ngaphansi kwamacala seMeadowlands futhi eCleveland ngesikhathi phakathi komnyaka ka2014?
If I can get specific in terms of the case numbers, my lord, because I did a lot of cases.
Athina kuma ngathola ke ama case number ke lapho ke uqondile ngoba maningi amacala asasebenze kuona ke.
Thank you. Now, I'm not so sure whether you remember Middlelands case 26712 of 2013.
267 of 20?
267 of 12 of 2013.
Athi akazi yini ukuthi ngabe sakhumbula inkala lapho ke-Middlelands le case number 267/12/2013.
Yes, I do recall that case, my lord.
Athi yebo ngiyakhumbula icala lelo.
We will not get into the merits of the case.
Athi ngeke siqinize ngokujulile ke icala lelo ke.
Thank you.
Understood, my lord.
Is it correct, therefore, Brigadier, that in the course and scope of your investigation of that case, one of the accused in that case, I don't want to use the term volunteered because I don't know what happened, but one before I arrived there. Do you agree that you were the investigating officer there?
No, no, it was not a single case, my lord. That case came as a result of the multidisciplinary tax team that was assembled by then General Biyaga, was the national commissioner.
Bathi ngabe uyavuma yini ukuthi kade ukwena kumholi weteam labaseshi kuqala lelo kathina cha akuvumile lokho ke ngoba kade khona ke lapho kade khona ke kade kusenza khona ukuthi izeni noma ukuthi disciplinary hearing futhi ke indlela ukuthi abasebenzi beziphoyisa beqoqe khona ke lo disciplinary hearing kade yenziwa lapho ke wangasele ke wayeka lesiphoyiseni umnomzana uRiapiega.
I was part of the investigators, my lord.
Athi kade komunye weteam labaseshi beqala lelo ke.
Thank you. Now, being part of the team of investigators, is it correct that in the course and scope of the investigation of the team, one of the accused persons in that case, whose name is really not necessary for these proceedings, ended up making a confession before Colonel Mboto?
That is correct, my lord.
Athi lapho ke omunye ke wabasola icala lelo ke lapho ke Middlelands le case 267/12/2013 ukuthi ke wenza ke confession ke lapho ke yenza komunye ke umnomzana lapho kuMbotho athi yebo kunjalo,
and that was in 2014 or so.
Kade kunyaka 2014 akusenjalo.
I can't be certain, my lord, but it could be around that time, 2014, 2015. It is possible, my lord. I just don't have the correct date, but it's not far. If it's not 2014, then it's not far from them, my lord.
Athaka nasiqiniseka ukuthi kade kuwumuphi ke unyaka lapho ke phakathi komnyaka 2014 futhi unyaka 2015.
Thank you. Now, the confession that just a second. The confession that Colonel Mboto took from the accused was on the 5th of June 2020. No. Was on the 30th of May 2020, not so? 2020.
Athi lapho confession that ayithatha kumnumzana uMbotho kade kuyilanga la nge-30 zakaMay ngonyaka 2020.
That is correct, my lord.
Athi yebo kunjalo.
And this is almost 7 or 6 years after you had worked with Mboto in another case where Mboto took a confession where you were also the investigating officer, not so?
Wathathe kungemuva kweminyaka eyisithupha noma iminyaka esikhombisa ke ngemuva thina usebenzele umnumzana kuMbotho ke kulinye ke icala laqala ngonyaka 2013 akusenjalo.
No, that's not so. That's not accurate. Firstly, my lord, I did not work with Colonel Mboto. That is the position then, and is still the position up to the time he retired. That's the first part.
Athi cha nakakaza sebenzeke nomnumzana Colonel Mboto ke eqaleni futhi uzofinyelela sakho sokuthi nakathathe umhlala phansi wakhe ke.
And secondly, as I've said, it was the multidisciplinary tax team that was coordinated by the National Commissioner. It consisted of the Deputy National Commissioners, Generals and Brigadiers and Crime Intelligence. I was just one of the investigators. That confession, my lord, came as a result of an arrangement that was made by the late General Ndlovu. He was part of the provincial office, and he is the one that made contact with Colonel Mboto.
athi-ke lapho-ke lokho kwenzeka ngemuva kokuthi ade khona ungayiphathi kahle-ke ngaphansi kwabantu bezesiphoyisa-ke lapho-ke suthi i-multidisciplinary lapho-ke ade khona-ke athi futhi ithimba lakade lahola-ke sele kangasekho-ke lapho u-late general andlovu-ke lapho-ke futhi nabanye bezesiphoyisa kade besebenza lapho-ke njengethimba futhi amanye amaphoyisa amaningi-ke lapho-ke nabo-major general nabo-general-ke lapho-ke kade besebenza ngokuthi kade kuyithimba noma kade basebenza njengethimba ngesikhathi besebenza-ke kwicala lelo kathina-ke kulawa abizwa khona-ke thizeni akeza angenelele noma athi ukulekelela-ke lapho-ke licala lelo noma kusesesheni icala lelo.
Thank you, Brigadier, for that explanation. Now, Brigadier, you would also recall that I said that I will come back to the statements. I'll come back to the statements that were to the affidavits that were that you had to go and that you actually went and organized, arranged from the people who you received the certain warning statements from, those ZZ1 up to ZZ5 statements. Do you still remember?
I do recall, my lord.
Thank you.
Athi khona kodaba la kade sikhulumile ngalo ngathi sibuye kulona-ke udaba lama-affidavit shuthi inkulumo ebhalwe ngaphansi kwesifungo-ke mayelana nodaba lama-statement athi wacelile-ke kuy'khumulo zamaphoyisa-ke ezahlukene. Ngabe sakhumbula yini lokho athi ufakazi? Yebo, ngisakhumbula.
Now there's one statement that I would read and put the content thereof into the records.
Athi khona ke statement esisodwa la ngathana ukuthi asifundeke lapho ke sabuya ukukhuluma-ke ngaso-ke la ngaphambi kwenkosi enkantolo.
Actually, it's an affidavit.
Athi lapho inkulumo kade ibhaliwe-ke ibhalwa ngaphansi kwesifungo shuthi affidavit ngelimi lesingisi.
I'm listening, my lord.
Now, I'm not so sure. I think it's an affidavit that accompanies that document that came from Graf Reinet and most probably from the Damascope.
Athi affidavit iqhamuka lapho-ke kwisikhumulo sesiphoyisa sase-Graf Reinet ekuphelekezwa i-statement sase-Damascope.
Yeah, it's written in very fine print. I will, however, try the best that I can to go through it. I will not put the name of the deponent. He's our colleague. Specifically, he's my former colleague when I was still in the government. So, out of respect for him and his integrity as such, I will not put his particulars on record. I will start on paragraph number 2. I'm just not so sure whether you've got the statement with you.
Yeah, perhaps if. Yeah.
I'm not so sure whether you've got a copy of that statement.
No. Just.
Thank you.
You can give it to him. I don't have just got it. No.
Just does not have a copy. Sex statement.
Thank you.
What? Until it's 17 minutes past 11. Can you adjourn until 12:30?
Thank you, my lord. Thank you. Thank you, Brigadier. as I
Yes,
was saying, I will just refer this court to, I'll read it to record, the part that would later on form part of my argument. This has already been admitted as Exhibit ZZ3A.
I'm following, my lord.
Yes. This is the part that I would want to read into record, that I will come and argue later on it. It starts on paragraph 3, and it reads thus. I am a group leader at Graf Reinet Detective Unit, and as such oversee all the daily tasks and duties of the detectives under my command. Should I continue, Mr. Interpreter?
Manje ke kade khuluma khona ke lapho ke ummeli athi mana nodaba lolu ke le statement noma inkulumo ebhaliwe ngaphansi kwesifungo eqhamuka lapho eGrafreinet angachazile athi ngeke cha alisho ke igama lomuntu obhalile lenkulumo lena ke ngoba sela usebenza naye futhi emhlonipha kakhulu ke kepha thuma ocaphula lapho ke ku paragraph 3 lapho noma ku paragraph 3 ke lapho ke lefundeka ngalendlela elandelayo ke athena ke umholi wethimba lapho eGrafreinet labaseshi bamacala ke noma ngaphansi kuma detective unit lapho ke futhi athena ke obhekele amacala amaningi noma mhlawumbe usebenza noma umsebenzi ebavama ukuthi wathole enjalo emalangeni futhi wasebenza ngaphansi kwenkulumo yakhe.
Now, one of my duties is to ensure continuity and ensure that dockets sent to court are done so in a proper and legal manner.
Athi lapho umunye komsebenzi wakhe wenzalo njalo ngemalanga ukuthi enze iqiniso ukuthi amadocket bawathumela ke enkantolo futhi uma bewathumela enkantolo wathumela ngendlela eqondile futhi ngokusemthethweni.
This includes ensuring that documents
No. What's the status of this? Is it an affidavit? What is the status of it? Because I'm told by you that you don't want to disclose who deposed to the affidavit.
my
I'm
lord,
saying this court must accept an affidavit which is nameless. What is the status? I want to know.
it has already been handed in as an exhibit.
No, it has not been read.
Yes. Now I'm reading it under cross-examination.
Yeah, but you must read the proper affidavit.
This is an affidavit, man.
You must mention the name of the man.
As it please the court.
My name is
I'll do so.
the chairman of what.
I'll do so, my lord. Because I assume that by virtue of the fact that it is already part of the record, the information that I'm omitting is also automatically part of the record. But nonetheless,
It was never read, that thing, please. Can't be part of the record. It was never read. Mr. Baloi, was that affidavit read?
No, the affidavits were just handed up.
That's it.
I'll start from the beginning, my lord. It says, Harold Stephanus Kruger declares under oath in English that I'm an adult male born 1973 0716 with identity number 7107 165 255080 and resides at 14 Lobsher Street, Graf Reinet, with cell phone number 073 508 8049. I am employed as a detective warrant officer at Graf Reinet, South African Police Services Detective Branch, Oval Drive, Graf Reinet, with telephone number 043 807 6454 and personal number 046 904 5/-1.
La khona ke inkulumo lapho ebhaliwe ke ebhala Harold Stephenis Kruger ebhala ngolwimi lwesiNgisi ke ebhala ngaphansi kwesifungeko yasho thina ke umuntu wesilisa ke omdala ke bambeletha ngelanga lange-16 ngenyanga esikhombisa ke ngomnyaka 1973 futhi abhala ke imininingwane yakamazisi wakhe noma inombolo zakamazisi wakhe lapho ukuthi 7107 16575508 0 athi ngihlala ke enumber 14 Lubach Street lapho ke Grafreinet futhi inombolo zocingo lakho ezibhaliwe lapho ke kuthi 0735088049 futhi uyasho khona njalo ukuthi nosebenza njenge detective warrant officer ngaphansi kwesikhumulo samaphoyisa saseGrafreinet lapho ke athi usebenza ngaphansi kwe detective branch yase Oval Drive lapho eGrafreinet futhi zikhona inombolo zocingo lakho ezibhaliwe ke lapho ke futhi nenombolo zokusebenza kwakhe ke usho ukuthi personal number ke ngesingisi.
Now paragraph 2 he says save where the converse appears from the context, the facts contained in this affidavit fall either within my personal knowledge and are to the better of my belief both accurate and true, and that I will be liable for prosecution if any fact contained herein is to my knowledge and or belief false and inaccurate.
Article konke lokubhaliwe la ngaphakathi kwale nkulumo la siqhamuka kena ke futhi yasho khona ukuthi malana nodaba olubhaliwe noma qhukethiwe la affidavit loluke liqhamuka kulwazi lwakhe ke futhi yasho khona ukuthi nanoma yena ngaphansi kwesimo singcono sokuthi yakholwe nokuthi konke okubhalwe ngalana kwiqiniso lonkana futhi ngabe ukukhulumeka amanga akhe futhi lapho yena ngathi angashushiswa noma kuthi iqala ke lapho ke futhi yasho ukuthi mangabe nikeze imininingwane engaqondile lapho ke nakhona angashushiswa.
Thank you. Paragraph 3. I'm a group leader at Grafreinet Detective Unit and as such oversee all the daily tasks and duties of the detectives under my command.
Athi lapho ke uyena ke umholi wethimba ke lapha eGrafreinet labasishi bamacala ke lapho ke athi umsebenzi wakhe wenzela njalo emalangeni ukuthi enze isiqiniseko sokuthi lapho ke amadocument abawunikisa lapho enkantolo ukuthi indlela elungile ke esemthethweni.
One of my duties is to ensure continuity and ensure that dockets sent to court are done so in a proper and legal manner.
Athi omunye komsebenzi wakhe ukuthi enze isiqiniseko sokuthi ngaphambi ukuthi amadocument ahambe kwamikisa enkantolo ke ukuthi bawahambisa indlela eqondile futhi nangohlelo olulungile futhi indlela yakhe esemthethweni.
This includes ensuring that documents we use are approved by the South African Police Service Management as well as are acceptable to the members of the Justice Department.
Athi ke lapho enye into enza isiqiniseko sakho ukuthi amadocument ke lana ngaphambi ukuthi bawahambise ke lapho ke bayawa-approve lapho ke mhlawumbe bawavuma lapho ke ngaphansi kwe-subs management ke lapho ke nokuthi futhi amkelekile kuma ngabe fika kuma members we-justice noma mhlawumbe kozobulungiswa ke.
We are presently using an adapted warning statement and it is widely accepted in our district.
Athi lapho basebenzisa ke wona ke warning statement ukuthi bayenze ushintsho la mhlawumbe bayenze bathi bayi-adapta ke ngesingisi ke lapho ke futhi athi bayivumile ke ngaphansi kwesigodi sabo noma ngaphansi kwendawo basebenza kuyona.
Paragraph 4 it reads, the advocate of our regional court at the time of introducing the updated warning statement, Mr. D. Bakers had approached us with concerns regarding shortcomings in the warning statements we were using.
Athi lapho ke umshushisi okhona lapho mhlawumbe advocate okhona ke ngaphansi kwenkantolo regional ke lapho ke athi yena ngesikhathi kade bemtshenge bekhuluma beintroduce mhlawumbe beveza ke warning statement ade beyenzile ke lapho ke athi umnumzana uD Bakers ke lapho ke uyena ke wahamba yakubona ke ngomayelana nezikhalazo ade zikhona ke mayelana nodaba lokuthi kade khona ke ingcinamba ekade ziqhamuka mayelana nodaba warning statement kade bewenza noma kade bosebenzisa ke esikhathini esendlule.
He stated that it did not conform to Section 35 of the Constitution of the Republic of South Africa
washo ke lapho ukuthi na ke lokhu kade kungekho ke mhlawumbe noma kade engasenzi kodwa ngeke kwesiqiniseko salokhu ngaphansi kwezomthetho ke umthetho ka section 35 owela ngaphansi kwezamalungelo alana ke eNingizimu Afrika.
A short while later, we received the present warning statement from his office, and in conjunction with myself, we managed to compress the contents into the present 3-page document, which encompasses all the requests of the court.
Athi ke ngemuva nje kwesikhathi esincane ke bona bathola lokhu ngesikhathi othola lo hlelo lo segment ke lapho ke office labo ke lapho ke bona bese basijwayeza lokhu ke futhi nabanye bekhona ke ngaphansi kwethimba lakhe ke ekuthize basebenze ngalokho futhi lwela ngaphansi kwalamakhasi amathathu ade bawatholile.
Each police station had previously used a standard warning statement which was in both English and Afrikaans, but this one did not conform, so we discontinued the use of that one and opted for the new revised one, which is presented only in English as per national instruction.
Athi ke lapho ke bona ke baqhuba noma isikhumulo sesiphoyisa ngasinye ke lapho kade sikhona ke ngesikhathi esinduleke baqhuba basebenzisa lapho ke standard warning statement lapho ke ngesikhathi noma kade sebhaliwe ke ngolimi lesingisi futhi ngolimi lwesibhunu ngolimi lweAfrikaans ke lapho ke athi khona kade bengaqhubi lokuphansi kwalo daba lolusha ke kade qhamukile ke kubona ke futhi bona baqhubeka basebenzisa ke lela kade beyitholile ke warning statement kuphela kade bhala ngolimi lesingisi ke ngoba kade qhamuka lapho ke national ngonoma qhamuka ngemuva kwama national instructions.
Attached, find a copy of the warning statement currently being used at Graaf-Reinet South African Police Services.
Athi ke thola icopy ke le warning statement kade ifakiwe qhamuka lapho ke Graaf-Reinet subs.
And it is indeed attached as an annexure to this affidavit. And then paragraph 4, he says, I know and understand the contents of the above statement. I have no objection to taking the prescribed oath. I consider the prescribed oath to be binding on my conscience, so help me God. There's a signature there, and there is also the Commissioner's Office's stamp and date there. I may read it for the sake of completeness. It reads as thus: I hereby certify that the deponent has acknowledged that he knows and understands the contents of this declaration, which was sworn to before me, and the deponent's signature was placed thereon in my presence at Graaf-Reinet on this 21st day of January 2025 at 14 hours 35 minutes. There's the Commissioner of Oath there. Unfortunately, I can't see the name. It's a name that was fixed on the affidavit on a stamp. It's very faint, but it's at Graaf-Reinet Detective Branch Oval Office. Thank you.
Lapho ngaphansi kuparagraph 4 kula athathe khona ke isifungo futhi asho ukuthi akana inkinga uthathe isifungo ke lapho ke futhi akuvuma ukuthi konke lokubhaliwe la qhamuka kena ke emcabangweni wakhe futhi iyayigoma ukuthi uthathe isifungo lapho ke bese ngenzansi kwalapho ke la wasayina ke lapho ke bese ke move uthi asayinde ke lapho kwakho khona ke commission of oath nayo ke yona esayindile ke lapho ke yase Graaf-Reinet Detective Branch Oval Drive.
Thank you, Brigadier. As I've said, I just wanted to read this into record so that I come and argue heavily on it later on.
I've noted my note.
Thank you, Brigadier. May I request, my lord, an indulgence from Mr. Sibia? I think we're just about to conclude our cross-examination. I'll be coming back from this. Thank you, my lord. Brigadier, indeed, that will conclude my cross-examination on behalf of accused number 1, as it has been pending for some time. However, it is on the right that there is still some information that we requested relating to the AVL of the Morovia High Girls, whose response we have not yet received. We're looking forward to receiving that information, but thank you for now.
Athiko uyabonga ke ummeli futhi kade qedela ukuthi akubuzeke imibuzo emalana nomnumzana koSibiyaka lapho ke uthatha kunodaba ke kade belicelile ke lo le no mudaba lokushicilwa kwemoto kusho ukuthi AVL records imoto ade zikhona ke kulecala leli ke futhi athi basakathuli ke iminingwane leyo becelile.
And over and above that, Brigadier, we probably will be waiting to hear the arrangements that are being made for the court to visit, to have an inspection in loco on that disputed area where allegedly Mr. Sibiya was taken to and assaulted. Thank you.
Ate futhi kokwesibili ukuthi basamile uthothole ke inhlelo ukuthi zihamba kanjani kubana nodaba lolu ke la umnumzana uSibiyaka kade athi nawashaya khona ke ekhizini abe uhlelo lolo solenza nini ukuthi ekhizini inkantolo ihambe iyobheka ke indawo leyo.
Thank you, my lord. That concludes my cross-examination.
Any re-examination?
As a court case, my lord. Brigadier Gininda, if we can start with the entries on your 2020 diary for the 30th and 31st of May 2020.
Yes,
Advocate Nisi asked you, I think it was on the 2nd and the 3rd of June, about the entries of your diary on those specific dates, the 30th and the 31st of May 2020. And he asked you to read certain portions of your entries on the 30th of May into the record.
I do recall, my lord, that's correct.
Manje ke isikhathi sokuthi ithimba labashushisi noma mhlawumbe umshushisi abuye futhi abuze ke imibuzo ke ufakazi manje uyasho ukuthi yena lapho ke ucela ufakazi ukuthi abheke ke lapho ke diary yakhe ama entry khona ke ngelanga la nge-30 zaka May futhi ngelanga la nge-31 zaka May ngomnyaka 2020 la adabuza khona ke imibuzo ke abameli.
And you testify that you made these entries as the events unfolded. In other words, those were contemporaneous notes.
That
is correct, my lord.
Then Advocate Nisi also cross-examined you on the events of 5 June 2020 regarding the pointings out.
Bese ke umnumzana kumnisa ubuya kubuza ke imibuzo ke ngelanga la nge5 malana nodaba lwelanga la nge5 zaka June ke la zaka June ngomnyaka 2020 la kukhonjwa khona ke.
That is correct also, my lord.
You testify that you also documented the events of the 5th of June 2020.
Futhi wakhulu matsho khona nje wayebhala ke zonke igameko zenzeka mhlawumbe izinto zenzeka ngelanga lenge5 zaka June ngomnyaka 2020.
That is correct. Insofar as the arrangements with Colonel Hadebe, my lord, for the pointing out, and Sergeant Mokhane.
Athi yebo ke kunjalo wabhala phansi konke kade kukhona kade noma kade kuxhumana kwabo ke phakathi komnumzana uColonel Hadebe futhi no Sergeant Mokhane.
Now, just to give proper context to your entries, can you please just place on record all the entries that you made on this date, starting with the 30th of May
Mayana lama entry cela usitshela ukuthi ngabe wabhala ini ke lapho ke ngelanga la
31st of May and 6th of June. My lord, this extract of the diary has not yet been handed up as exhibit. It was extensively referred to. We'll just
Yeah.
Well, we just check in the last exhibit number. That will just make it double Z. Yes, if you can just go ahead and read it in the record.
All right, my
baqala
lord.
ufaka zasifundela ukuthi ngabe mhlambi yini awayibhala ke ngelanga la nge-30 langa la nge-31 zaka 30 ne-31 zaka May ngomnyaka 2020 futhi nangelanga la nge-5 zaka May ngomnyaka 2020.
30th May, my lord, it says duty on Phosphorus case 636 of 10 2014, and then it says at 1400, so 1410, it says got a report from Captain Yende and Mokula that suspect Muzi Sibiya has been arrested for the case of drug dealing and possession of unlicensed ammunition. I went to interview. No, let me read it. I'll give it to you. I'll only read this part. Yes. I went to interview the suspect at Phosphorus around 1900 hours. The suspect implicated himself in the case after he was warned according to his rights. Colonel Mboto on number 082-778-7901 is requested to assist with the confession. He agreed. Says suspect must be brought to Deproof ACPS 30 May, and that is in bracket, my lord, 30 May 2020. Then it says at 0010, 100 hours, this is now the morning of the 31st, my lord. Colonel Mboto say he is done and that I should come get the confession from him directly. Then it says 0130, duty off. That is the entry of the 30th, my lord.
Article lapho ku brigadier ngelanga la nge-30 lokubhalile. Mana lokubhalile ukuthi ke lapho kade semsebenzini ke ngelanga lelo ke malana case Phosphorus case lapho 636/10/2020 2014 athi isikhathi sibhaliwe lapho ke shothi imizuzu eyishumi ngemuva kohora lesibili ke emini ke lapho ke athi nathola ke lapho uxhumana kade qhamuka phakathi. My apologies, my lord. This handwriting.
Mkhula.
Athe khona ke uxhumana phakathi komkoko yeke futhi nomukhula ke lapho nodaba la kwamsola ke umuzi Sibiya owaboshwa ke emuva ukuthi nakade ayiphethe ke idakamizwa futhi nesibhamu ke kena ke futhi neyinhlamvu lapho neqala lapho ke thembisa ke athi la kuyena ke wakutshela lapho ke bese emuva kwalokho ke na waqhamuka waya lapho ke malana ngesikhathi ke lapho ke bese bakhuluma khona njalo ke ngiqala lapho ke Phosphorus ke lapho ke athi kade kusikhathi saka sesikhombisa ke ntambama ke lapho ke la khona komsola washo khona wabatshela yena ukuthi naka unesandla mhlawumbe yabandakanyeka kwicala leli kade lisenzekile khona ke lapho ke futhi wabuya washo njalo ke ukuthi yena my apologies my lord once more
He was warned according to his rights.
futhi lapho ke base bamxwayisa ke malana nodaba lwamalungelo akhe ke ngesikhathi kade kusenzeka lokhu ke kade kusenzeka phakathi kwakhe nomnumzana okhonela uMbotho ke lapho ke ngelanga leli
no. He was warned according to his rights by me. Then Colonel Mboto on this number was requested.
Athuyena kwamxwayisa ke isilungiso ke lapho ke police athuyena ke wamxwayisa futhi wamtshela amalungelo akhe ke bese lapho umnumzana khona Mboto saxhumana ke kule nombolo ezingaphezulu ezibhaliwe ke lapho zocingo lwakhe ke lapho ke futhi emva kwalokho bese kwenzeka lokho okwenzeka ke lapho ke mayana nomsola ke ngesikhathi ade kusenzeka lokho ke bese benza uhlelo lokuthi abahlangane naye umnumzana khona Mboto mayicala leli ke ade aqhamukela ngalo ke ngelanga la nge-30 zaka May ngomnyaka ka 2020 futhi isikhathi esibhaliwe lapho ke 01:30 elakade aphuma ke emsebenzini.
Then, my lord, the entry of the 31st, it says 11:30 duty on. Then it says as 12 departure to Ayrton. Then it says 1955, interview a witch doctor that is suspected of cleansing the killers of Senzo Meyiwa. Should I stop?
My apologies, my lord. I'm just asking the brigadier to read paragraph by paragraph because I can't see his handwriting.
Yeah.
Athi lapho ke-entry ebhaleni ngelanga lange-31 zakaMeyi ngomnyaka ka-2020 kukuthi ngemizuzu ewu-30 ngemuva kwehora laka-11 lapho ke tasemsebenzini-ke lapho ke bese ngehora laka-12 nake wahamba khona njalo-ke bese ngesikhathi saka-1955 ntambama wahamba wahlangana-ke khona-ke nesangoma-ke lapho-ke isangoma esageza-ke abasola mhlawumbe igebengu kade zibandakanya-ke lecala leli.
The witch doctor by the name of Lionel Zwane confirmed that indeed he was approached by some boys of the Buthelezi surname, together with the one that was shown to him.
Athi lapho ke empeleni isangoma lesi sasenza isiqiniseko sokuthi nake salandwa ke abantu bemndeni okobuthelezi ke futhi behamba nomunye wesilisa ke kade bemtshengise nake ngesikhathi befika befuna ukugezwa lakhe kuye.
He said they requested that a cleansing to be done. Thereafter, they came
For a job to be done.
for the job to be done. My apologies. Yes.
Athi wacala igama lesangoma lapho uLion Zwane ke lapho kwacala ukuthi yayibona ke beze bazogeza ke lapho nokuthi umsebenzi uqedwe ukugezwa kwabo.
Thereafter, they came to. My apologies. I'm missing my handwriting, my lord. They came to. To say that they killed Senzo. He could identify Moses Sibia as
To tell
one of
him, is it not to tell him? They came to tell him.
wait no, my lord, let me just go back. Yes, thereafter they came to tell him that they killed Senzo. He could identify Moses Sibia as one of the people who came to him. Statement taken by Colonel Mutlame, DPCI on 1 June 2020. Then it says 01:30 duty off.
Athi ke lapho ke bafika ke kena bese bamtshela ukuthi uyena wabona ke ababulala ke lapho kuSenzo Meyiwa ke bese athi oyedwa wabo ke na amchaza ngokuthi noma wamazi ukuthi umuzi Sibia ke futhi athi ibona abantu laba ibona abafika ke lapho ke bekuyena beyogeza ke lapho ke futhi istatement lesathathwa ke lapho ke
Mutlame.
Umutlame ke Colonel Mutlame walapho ke DPCI ngelanga lokuqala ngenyanga kaJune ngomnyaka 2020 isikhathi ngo-01:30 enakade aphuma ke emsebenzini.
Should I move to
There's
the
a signature there at the bottom. The signature's there.
Bathi khona ke umuntu osayindile lapha eNzansi ubona ukuthi sayinda ke lapha eNzansi.
That is my signature, my lord. At the time I was a colonel.
Athi ko brigadier uyena kade sayina ke lapho ke futhi ngesikhathi leso kade ku colonel.
Yes.
Should I to what
5
date?
June.
5 June. Okay. Then it says duty on, my lord, at 7:30. Then it says morning meeting at NATCOM. This is now the morning meeting at NATCOM office, Pretoria. Then it says the next entry.
Athi lapho ke ngelanga le-5 zakaJune ngonyaka 2020 kade baqeda kushaya imizuzu 30 ngemuva kwehora lesikhombisa kusasa kade esemsebenzini athi khona komhlangano kade ukhona lapho kuma-ofisi ase-Pretoria eNatcom.
Then it says inform Sergeant Mohane to take suspect Moses Sibia to Alberton SAPS for pointing out.
Lapho kwatshela uSergeant Mohane ukuthi athathe umuzi Sibia amahambise Alberton thizeni zohamba ukwenza lokukhomba kwakhe ukukhomba khona ke,
where he'll be contacted by Lieutenant Colonel Hadebe on phosphorus case 636 of 10/2014.
La kade khona kohlelo lokuzokwenziwa ke lapho kumnumzana Lieutenant Colonel Hadebe emalana icala lase phosphorus le case 636/10/2014.
Sergeant Mohane is requested to book the suspect into the holding cells of Alberton SCPS as the Lieutenant Colonel will make his own arrangement to book him out.
La khona ke uSergeant Mohane bamcela kuthizeni ngafike kamfake khona ke besambhuke in lapho ke umnumzana uSibia ke uma befika lapho ke ngaphansi kwesikhumulo samaphoyisa sasalbertini bese ke lapho ke uLieutenant Colonel Hadebe yena bazofika ke amkhiphe noma ambhuke out khona ke.
Sergeant Mohane was informed on the 4th of June 2020.
uSergeant Mohane bamtshela lokhu ngelanga la nge-4 zakaJune ngomnyaka 2020.
Then the next entry says attendant complains with Captain Casey and in Kwamhlanga area.
lapho kathi wena bahamba baya kumanye amacala ke lapho ke no Sergeant KC lapho ke bayahamba baya khona ke kwaMhlanga.
Then reported to NATCOM, and then says I met a source or informer in the level of corruption and influence. Yeah. I think can I just leave this because it's a bit sensitive, my lord. But I made an informer regarding some high-level investigations in certain departments.
Athi lapho ke ngodaba lo angathana ukuthi angalikhulumi la ngaphambi ukuthi nganto bayicala leli elinobungozi futhi elinobuzaza khona ke lapho ke la bazokhuluma khona ukuthi wahlangana khona ke nempimpi futhi informer wahlangana nayo ke lapho ke.
There's also a signature there.
That is correct. That is correct, my lord. That is also my signature at the bottom.
Bathi khona umuntu osayindile lapho ngabe ubani osayindile lapho kathi uyena kade asayinda khona ke.
Advocate Nisi also touched on the events of the 6th of June. Did you also make entries, or did you cause entries to be made regarding the events of the 6th of June 2020?
Yes, my lord. I caused entries to be made on the 6th of June. It was written by one of my colleagues, my lord.
Bathi khona ke la umnumzana umnisi bakhuluma khona ke mana udaba lo ilanga la ngesithupha ngonyaka kaJune ngonyaka 2020 abe khona okubhalile yini atubheka tagininda yebo khona ngikubhalile ebathi kubhala omunye ozakwabo.
Who made the entry?
It's Sergeant Mokhula, my lord.
Bathi ubani obhalile lapha Sergeant Mokhula.
After the entries were made, did you have a look at them?
Yes, indeed I did, my lord.
Bathi ngemuva ukubhaliwe ke lapho lapho ngabe wafunda yini athi yebo ngafunda.
And what was your view of the entries?
Ngabe ibona njani ke lo mbhalo mhlawumbe lokho kubhaliwe lapho ke?
They are correct, my lord. They are specific and correct, my lord.
Athi ziqondile futhi share esikhongosini.
Yes, you can place that on record.
So it says 07:30, it says duty on, my lord. And then at 11 it says departure to Ulundi, KwaZulu-Natal for investigation as per Tembisa case 217 of 3/2019 and Tembisa South 01/06/2020.
Lapho ke ibhala khona ukuthi lapho ke 7:30 ade bengena ke emsebenzini ke bese lapho ke emini bese bahamba ke baya lapho uLundi KwaZulu-Natal ke ngesikhathi ade bese bosesha khona icala labo ke manje icala sethembisa lapho ke a case number yakhona ke ithi 217/03/2019 bese nyafuthi thembisa so bese ithi 01/06/2020.
And then at 1800 hours, my lord, it arrived. It says arrive at Ulundi and to Mahlabathini.
Lapho bese thi ngehora lesithupha la ntambama bese bafika ke lapho ke uLundi futhi nasemahlabathini.
And then what was the purpose of this trip, sorry, regarding?
Yes. So the purpose of this trip, my lord, this was at the stage when the accused, Mr. Sibiya, had brought or has made an indication to bring a bail application on the case of drug dealing in Tembisa. As part of that investigation, then to verify his address, this was the purpose. And the two cases that are referred here, one relates to the drug dealing, the other one relates to the ammunition that he was charged for. So it was the verification of address. I think I've touched base on it during my testimony, my lord.
Bathi kade kuyini inhloso lo hambo lwenu lolu athi kade bekwenza isiqiniseko sekhili la kaMnumzana uSibiya ke lapho malana namacala kade aboshele wona ke lapho ke Thembisa ke icala lokuqala lokudala isidakamizwa noma icala utholakala phethe idakamizwa futhi icala lesibili kade leli lokutholakala phethe isibhamu futhi nezinhlamvu ngaphandle kwamaphepha amnikeza ilungelo ukuthi aphatheke lokho ke athi lapho kade bekhona ke ngoba uMnumzana uSibiya kade enza isicelo sakhe sebhili ke lapho ke futhi bafuna ukwenza isiqiniseko sakhe sekhili sendawo ahlala kuyona.
Then, my lord, at 23:30 it says departure to Johannesburg. Then at 06:30, this is the morning, arrive back in Johannesburg.
Bese lapho ke ngemizuzu ewu30 ngemuva kwehora laka 11 ebusuku kade behamba lapho ke eDurban eKZN bese ke ngesikhathi sangosemizuzu ewu30 ngemuva kwehora lesithupha la kusasa ke kade befika lapho ke eGoli.
And then it says arrive back in Johannesburg and continued with the investigation as per Tembisa case 217 of 3/2019.
Lapho ke wafika ke lana eGoli bese ngemuva ukuthi afike eGoli aqhubeka kwenza ukusasha kwecala lela sethembisa le case number lapho ke 2170/03/2019.
Thank you.
Yes, and then it's duty off, my lord, at 11.
Bathi ngehora laka 11 kade ashayisa ke emsebenzini.
Thank you. Now, in cross-examination by Advocate Nisi, regarding the events when you engaged with accused number 1 after his arrest on the 30th of May 2020. You testified that this engagement or this interaction with accused number 1 was at the parking area of Vosloorus police station, and that this interaction took place at the back seat of a red Golf that was driven by Sergeant Mohola.
Athi-ke ngelanga lange-5 lade kube khuluma khona-ke umnumzana uMnisi ngesikhathi bohlangana khona-ke nomsola uqala noma umnumzana uSibi yakhe udizena ahlangana lapho kwi-parking lot yase-Vosloorus la kuma khona-ke imoto ngaphambi kwesakhiwo noma isakhiwo sesiphoyisa khona-ke lapho-ke futhi kade behlezi ngemuva kwemoto kathi i-red Golf lapho-ke.
That is correct, my lord.
Athi yebo kunjalo.
And that after the introductions, you read accused number 1 his rights, and that he was suspected of being involved in the death of Mr. Senzo Meyiwa. Is that correct?
Lapho-ke imoto kade ishayelwa-ke isilungise nje kuphela kade ishayela imoto khona-ke ebomvu i-red Golf ishayelwa Sergeant Mohola bathi ngemuva ukuthi nihlale khonapho lapho-ke emotweni wazazisa kuyena-ke ngemuva ukuthi wazazisa kuyena bese wamtshela mayelana nodaba lamalungelo akhe ngabe kuyiqiniso lelo.
It is correct, my lord, in the sense that after I was introduced, I warned him according to his rights, but the proper sequence is that then I asked the members to excuse me, and then I then warned him according to his rights again, eliciting the responses, and then thereafter I then put the question that I have a reason to believe that he may be involved in the killing of Senzo Meyiwa. So the killing part came after the members have left, my lord, when I was with him.
Athi lapho kwacela-ke abozakwabo ukuthi zamdedele bahambe bamshiyeke nomnumzana uSibi yakhe lapho kathi ngemuva ukuthi yena kaselele nomnumzana uSibi yakhe bese aqala-ke ingxoxo yakhe noma mhlawumbe bakhulumisana mayelana bakhuluma mathupha naye umnumzana uSibi yakhe ngesikhathi bakhuluma khona njalo ukuthi wamtshela mayelana nodaba lwamalungelo akhe futhi ukuthi yena kade anentsolo ezikhulayo ukuthi yena-ke umnumzana uSibi yakhe unesandla ekuthizeni koSenzo Meyiwa ashona-ke lapho-ke.
And you testify that accused number 1 implicated himself.
That is correct, my lord.
Ukhuluma ufakazi ukuthi umnumzana uSibi yena oyifakile kule cala athi yebo kunjalo.
And this aspect is also documented in your diary, exhibit ZZZZ.
Athi lo nkulumo ikhona ngaphansi kwediary yakho ngaphakathi kwemibukiso ka-ZZZZ.
That is correct, my lord.
Athi yebo kunjalo.
Now, you told the court about the arrangement that you made with for his confession. After you had received the confession, exhibit FF from Lieutenant Colonel Mboto.
Athi lapho bosokhulumile nodaba le-confession le confession eyenziwa ke umnumzana uSibi yakhe lapho kuyenza kumnumzana uColonel Lieutenant Colonel Mboto-ke wela ngaphansi kwemibukiso ka-exhibit FF.
Yes, my lord.
Athi yebo kunjalo.
Yes. Now, the contents of exhibit F, how did it compare with what he told you when he implicated himself?
Bathi mina nodaba libhaliwe lapho ngaphakathi kwemibukiso ka-FF ewela usuthi la confession awayenzake mayelana nenkulumo le awakutshela yona kuma ngabe uyiqhathanisa ngabe yini khona ke phakathi zona.
It correlated, my lord. It was just there were more details on exhibit FF, my lord, than what he told me. But the essence of him implicating himself, the role he played, where they got the instruction to commit this murder, the issue of the traditional healer, and the payments, which he made me aware of, that was contained. But there were more details than what he told me verbally, my lord.
Athi konke lokho kuyahambisana-ke uma ngaba kubuka-ke inkulumo yakhe kayibhalile ngaphansi kwe-confession ijulile futhi kachaze khona-ke izinto ngendlela ezenzeka ngayo-ke futhi wakhuluma ngokujula-ke lapho-ke kepha-thi uma ngabe ubuka-ke inkulumo yami la angitshele yona-ke mina njengofakazi mathupha-ke lapho-ke akukho nje ukujulile mayelana nodaba lwenkulumo-ke kepha uma ngabe ubuka-ke amaphuzu akhuluma ngawo ukuthi yena kobanda unesandla kanjani-ke ekushoneni kakamufi-ke nokuthi imali nokuthi mhlambe umyalezo bawuthola kubanike lapho-ke futhi nokuthi imali bayikhokhelwa imali engangane futhi nodaba lwabo lokuhamba besiya kule nyanga ethizeni bageza khona-ke athi nalezo zikhona ngaphakathi kodaba lolu awalikhuluma naye mathupha kepha akakaze akubhale konke noma lokhu nenkulumo le yabhale yonke ngokugcwele ngaphansi kwe-entry diary yakhe.
Now, in cross-examination by Advocate Nisi, he put the proposition to you, even yesterday, that the interaction with accused number 1 took place at a secluded spot near the police station.
athi khona ke inkulumo phambili la ikhuluma kummeli kamele komnomzana uSipiyala ukuthi le inkulumo yenu yenzeka kwindawo ethize eseduze lapho ke kwi-parking akhona indawo engajwayelekile.
No, yes, my lord, that was put, but I disagree. It was not a secluded spot. It was a parking, which is in an open area. There's no obstruction in terms of building or structure there. It's right at the beginning of the police station, and that's where we met, my lord.
athi yebo inkulumo le bayikhulumile kepha cha akusenjalo ke athi bona ke ngesikhathi ade behlangana bahlangana lapho phambi kwesakhiwo sase police station futhi lapho parking lot yakhona ke futhi athi alikho ibuilding ebhilidi elibavimbayo ekuthizini bangabonakali ke ebantwini futhi akunalutho olivimbayo ekuthizini bangabonakali ebantwini yindawo ke nje ephephile futhi evulekile.
We just want to refer to the proceedings of 22 January 2024 at page 62 from line 14 up to line 19. If you can just, it's Mr. Mgomezulu, cross-examining you, if you can just put the content on
bathi khona ke udaba lona yakhe kuzibuzo lapho ngosele angasekho ke umnumzana uNgomezulu ke ngelanga la nge-22 ngenyanga kaJanuary ngomnyaka ka-2024 lapho kukhasi le-60 lapho kumabuka ukubuka lapho kumugqa we-14 ke kuze ificeke lapho kumugqa we-19.
So it reads as follows, my lord, Mr. Ngomezulu. Then it says, rephrase it. At Phosphorus Police Station on 30 May, when you were interacting with accused number 1, I am saying, whatever that he said to you was an informal process because for you to legitimize that process, you had to get somebody who must take a formal confession. You agree? And then my answer is, I agree, my lord, but should I?
Yes, no, that's fine.
Is that fine? Okay.
Wathi khona ke inkulumo lana umnumzana uNgomezulu ke wayikhuluma ke kuwena ke wathi refresh ke ngesingisika lapho ke athi ngesikhathi kade lapho ke ngapha noma lapho ke Phosphorus Police Station ngelanga la nge-30 zaka May wena ke ngesikhathi bokuxoxisana khona ke nomathupha nomnumzana uqala noma nomsola uqala ke lapho ke athi nawe uthi marana nodaba udaba olunye nolunye lulo that alusho kukhulu kuwena ke kade kudaba lapho ke olisemthi noma athi kade kudaba ke lolo kade lu formal ke lapho noma udaba futhi kade liqondile ke lapho ke bese wathena ke ngoba wena wenza lokho de wenza ke noma inhlelo zakho kungakho wathola ke umuntu umuntu esibethize nabe khona ke ekuthatheni confession athi yebo kunjalo.
Now, was it ever put it to you by Mr. Mgomezulu that this interaction with accused number 1 took place at a secluded spot?
No, I have no recollection of that, my lord.
Bathi ngabe lokho wakhuluma yini umnumzana uNgomezulu ukuthi le nkulumo yenu eyenzeka kwindawo engajwayelekile athi cha akanako ukukhumbula malana nalokho.
Now, in cross-examination by Advocate Nisi about the involvement of the SWAT team members, you testify that this was an elite unit that you used for escort purposes.
Bathi mana nodaba lo SWAT team unit lo umnumzana uMsakade akhuluma ngalo ukuthi wena uthize ke umsebenzisa kuthize baniphilekeze shuthi lapho ke banigadi njenge escort.
That is correct, my lord. That's what I've said. They are an elite unit and trained in terms of combat. That's where their strong expertise are, my lord.
Athi yebo ke kunjalo yibona ke abatraini mhlawumbe abaqeshiwe bana nomsebenzi wakuthizeni benze lo msebenzi lo ke.
Now, this SWAT unit, where is it from? Is it part of the South African police, or what is the position?
Le SWAT unit ngabe mhlambi abanye bengxenye team bazesiphoyisa noma?
No, my lord. So they do functions under the Police Act, but they are a team under Ekurhuleni Metro Police. So within the Metro Police, within the Metro Division, within the Metro Police Division of Ekurhuleni, then this team was then in existence at that time. So they are an elite team, elite unit, a highly trained unit, basically similar to us. In the police, in the South African police, we have the Special Task Force. In their division, the highly trained elite unit was the SWAT team. So they are part of the Metro Police under Ekurhuleni and not necessarily the police, but they have the same powers as us in terms of the execution of their duties.
athi ithimba leli ke leSWAT unit ithimba lisebenza ngaphansi kweEkurhuleni Metropolis futhi bona kuqeqeshiwe emadlana nomsebenzi wabo abawenzayo ke lapho ke futhi lapho ke elite team lakhe lapho ke athi uma ngabe uwaqhathanisa nethimba labo lezesiphoyisa ke ungaze usho ukuthi bacishe bafana ke nethimba lezesiphoyisa SWAT unit ne
SWAT, yeah.
Other subs is compared
Force.
athi cishe yafana ke ne-task force kuma ngabe uqhathanisa nethimba lezesiphoyisa futhi athi bona ke bona baqeqeshiwe ke ethizeni ke bezomsebenzi wabo kepha ke bona basebenza ngaphansi kweEkurhuleni Metropolis.
And also, my lord, there was a memorandum of understanding between us, being the South African police, and them in terms of the the assistance in other matters, and they were also assisting other divisions as well, other than my unit.
Athi ade khona kokuzwana phakathi kwabo ke lapho ke futhi ade belekelela ke bonkana bezesiphoyisa kepha bengalekeleli ithimba lakhe lezesiphoyisa kuphela.
Now, in cross-examination by Advocate Mnisi, you testify that you deploy them in this matter because of their tactical skills.
That is correct, my lord.
Lapho umnumzana uMnisi ukhulumile ukuthina kana wona ke wabacela ukuthi bakulekelele ngoba kade benesipiliyoni esingaphezulu athi yebo kunjalo.
But why were they deployed in this particular case? Why did you enlist their services?
Ungani bocela ukulekelelo lwabo namhlanje ke yebo ukuthi ungani bocela ukuthi bakulekelele.
In other words, what was the need for you to engage their services in this particular case?
Usuthi bekuyisathu sini ke senze ukuthi wona ucela ukuthi bakulekelele kuleli cala leli mathupha.
It was really safety, protection, and escort, my lord, because it became abundantly clear as we're embarking on investigation that the environment and the places that we will have to go into during the course of investigations were dangerous places, and they had the skills, should such arise, to provide such security, my lord.
Athi mbangela ukuthi ocelekela abantu laba ukuthi babalekelele ekuthizini bahambe baye lapho de bayakhona ukuthi bona bakade belungiselela ukuthi ngabe bangahlangabezana nezingqinamba noma ke nenkinga ke ngoba kade ngaphiphile kwindawo de baya kuzona ke kungakho bacela ithimba leli ekuthizini ke lebaphelekeze ngoba kade beltrainile noma ke betholeke mhlawumbe uqeqeshwa mana uthizeni benza umsebenzi wabo ukulekelela kabo ukulekelela abantu uma ngabe besiya kwindawo ezingaphiphile.
In cross-examination by Advocate Mnisi, you testified that you used Constable Monaring to escort accused number 1 to Colonel Mboto, as Constable Buthelezi told you that he was not on the shift that day, but you also testified that Constable Mapumlo accompanied Constable Monaring to Diepkloof. What was the position of Constable Mapumlo?
Bathe ngabe kade kuyini ke isimo sakumnumzana Constable Maphumulo ngoba uyena kade khona ke phelekeza ke lapho ke umnumzana ngesikhathi kade behamba bese lapho kumnumzana Colonel Mboto.
My lord, I suppose it will be to assist Maphumulo. What I recall in terms of what I've said, I do know that Constable Monaring was accompanied by another member, but I remember in my initial testimony I was not sure in terms of the recollection of the second member, but I do know that the member that was with him, it was really to assist him. And it's a routine, my lord, that such members, especially in that division, they will always have more than one member for backup. It's a routine thing. Like police officers in such an environment, they'll always work as a group. So I do know that he was accompanied by one of his colleagues, although at the time, during the time of a trial within trial, I may not have remembered the name of Maphumulo.
Athi ngesikhathi kade ngaphakathi uqala bayangeke alikhumbule kahle hle igama likaMnumzane kuMaphumulo lapho uthize kade ngabe uyena eqinisweni kade aphelekeza ke omunye uMonare ngesikhathi ethi behamba besiya lapho ke futhi athi into ejwayelekile ukuthi uma ngabe besisebenza ngaphansi kweziphoyisa ke umuntu angahambi edwa kepha bahambe beyithimba ke uma ngabe besiya kunakuphi nakuphi ke uma besenza kusesha kwecala noma kuphina kwecala.
Advocate Nisi further put it to you that accused, just before we get to that, in cross-examination by Advocate Nisi, he put it to you that you went along to Diepkloof when accused number 1 went to make a confession to Colonel Mboto, that you were present at Diepkloof police station when a statement was taken from him.
futhi umnumzana umnithi ukutshela ukuthi wona ke kade ukhona ngesikhathi athi bethatha istatement kuwena ke futhi bohamba nomsolo oqala ke ngesikhathi athi umsolo oyokwenza iconfession kumnumzana uMbotho.
Yes, my lord, that was put to me, but it's not true, my lord.
Athi yebo lokho lokubangitshelile kepha akulona ke iqiniso.
We're going to show you the extracts of the court record on the 22nd of January 2024 at 60. If you can just read the contents thereof on record.
Is it the highlighted portion?
Yes, the highlighted portion.
Okay, it says, under Mr. Mngomezulu, rephrase it. At Phosphorus Police Station on 30 May, when you were interacting with accused one, I am saying whatever that is said to you was an informal process because for you. Okay, it's the same part that I read, madam. Should I proceed to the bottom one?
No, yeah, the bottom one, sorry, is lines, the last 3 lines.
Yes, my lord. So it's under Mr. Mngomezulu, and then it says, yes, what I want to put across to you is that what Mboto or Kenelo Mboto has to done with accused one and you, and has to done with accused one, and you were not present, cannot be an evidence by you to confirm that the provisions of section 217 were complied with. That from you, it is a hearsay evidence.
La khona ke khona ke inkulumo kade ikhulunywa khona kumnumzana uNgomezulu sele washona ke lapho ke ukuthi yebo nanoma yini engitshela yona ke ngesikhathi noma kade utshela yona ke lapho ke umnumzana ke uMbotho noma ukhulana loMbotho ke lapho ukuthi ayinalu inokwenza lapho mana nomsolo oqala ke khona kade ungekho ke ngesikhathi ade kusenzela ukuthi futhi akubonaka ufakazi lobo ke ngoba wena ke futhi awunaso ngoba kumele awunaso iqiniso salokho kumalana nomthetho owela ngaphansi ko section 217 futhi awukazi usebenzisana ke nawo nomthetho lo ke futhi usho ukuthi le nkulumo leyo ke inkulumo usuthi wena uzwile ke ngomunye mhlawumbe ungizwa nje kuphela ubufakazi mhlawumbe ufakazi.
I think that should not be understood very bluntly. Remember, even the version of accused number 1 is to the effect that at a particular time when they were at Deep Kloof, when they were in that house with a safe, an office with the safe on top, there was a point where Mr. Kininda actually went out and he was left with Mr. Mboto. At the time at which Mr. Mboto started to talk to Colonel Mboto, started to talk to him, holding those papers close to his chest and writing, Brigadier Kininda wasn't there. So what Mr. Mngomezulu put on record there, that is exactly, it's an indication of what I'm trying to, of what I am explaining now. Not that Brigadier Kininda was not at all there at Deep Kloof. It should just be understood contextually, my lord. Thank you. I just wanted the record to reflect that. Thank you.
As a court, please, I think it's a point that my learned friend can argue at the end of the case. Brigadier Kininda, we also wish to draw your attention to page 60, the last 3 lines, the next to Mngomezulu. If you can just put that in the record, page 60. Sure. It'll be from line 23 to 25. Next to Mr. Mngomezulu, they highlighted page 60.
Yes, ma'am. The highlight portion. So Mr. Mngomezulu said, yes, there is one thing that I just want to conclude on the aspect of taking off the, I think there was a disturbance in my note. It is an obvious question. It is an obvious question that you were not present to prove that accused number 1 gave that confession freely and voluntarily when he was, there's interruption, the allegation that he made such a confession, you were not physically present.
Athi lapho umnumzana uMngomezulu kade amtshela ke manje lapho ku page 60 ke lapho ke ukuthi yebo ngesikhathi kade uthatha confession kade ungekho ke lapho ke namnumzana futhi into ejwayelekile leyo ke nombuzo atubuzwa ke lapho ukuthi wena ke ngesikhathi kade beqedela udaba lolu ke njengofakazi kade ungekho lapho ke nomsola uqala ke ngesikhathi beka peace noma ngesikhathi bekenza confession futhi awunaso iqiniso ukuthi lokho akwenza ngokuthi mhlawumbe kade akhuleke emcabangweni wakhe mhlawumbe kade azikhethele ukuthi akwenzeke lokho ke kade khona ukuphazamiseka kade khona ke lapho ke futhi bathi mina ney'nsolo ezade bemsola ngazo ke azenzile kudaba le-confession ke bathi ufakazi kade ngekho yena ke mathupha lapho.
And should I read the next highlighted
Yes.
portion? The next one, that is by me, my lord. It says, I was not with Colonel Mboto. I agree. I was not there. But if you say to me, my lord, the confession was, okay, the highlighted portion ends there, my lord.
Yes.
Uthi ke babugini noma beqhubeke efunda ke lapho ukuthi yebo ngangikho ke lapho ke nomnumzana uColonel Mboto ke lapho ngiyavumelana nawe noma ngiyavuma ke lokho ke ngangekho naye kepha uma ngabe inkosi enkantolo isho ukuthi confession bese yaphela khona lapho ke.
Advocate Niso also put it to that accused number 1 was transported in the Fort Ranger to Diplo to make a confession to Colonel Mboto on the 30th of May 2020.
Lakhona kumnumzana khona kumnumzana usibiya wathi nakade bemhambisa ke imoto kuyi-Fort Ranger ke ngesikhathi bekahamba ke ekwenza ke confession ke ngaphambi komnumzana lapho ku Colonel Mboto ke ngelanga la nge-30 ka May ngonyaka 2020.
That is correct, my lord.
Athi yebo kuyiqiniso lokho.
We just wish to draw your attention to the proceedings of the 5th of February 2024, page 30. From lines 1 to 4, if you can just put that on record.
So the proceedings of the 5th of February, my lord, 2024, page state under Mgomezulu reads as follows: were you transported with the same Golf 7? Accused number 1, the response is yes, it was. Others, there were cars behind and there were cars in front as well.
Bathi mina nenkulumo ke eyashicilela la ngaphambi kwenkantolo ngelanga la nge-5 zika February ngonyaka 2024 umnumzana Mngomezulu wathi ngesikhathi kade behambisa ke wabuza kade behambisa ke ngemoto eyodwa i-Golf 7 ke lapho ke bese umnumzana wakho umsola oqala athi yebo kade kuyiyo ke lapho ke kepha abanye kade belandela ke ngemuva ngemoto zabo ke futhi abanye kade beshela la ngaphambili kithi.
Yes, and that portion, the other portion that is highlighted.
So then it says accused 1, so that's page 37, my lord, of the same proceedings of the 5th of February 2024. Accused 1, there, my lord, I was then transported in the red Golf. There was also a Nissan that is now who formed part of the vehicles that were escorting us, and then I just noticed us driving into Valeria police station.
Kukhasi le-37 ke lapho ke ngalo leli langa nge-5 zaka February ngonyaka 2024 la khona umsolo oqala athi yebo athi inkosi enkantolo kade khona ke imoto ade ngihambisa ke lapho ke kade umuntu ke kade i-Red Golf ke lapho ke kepha kade khona ke enye imoto kade khona lapho kade kuyi-Nissan futhi kulathi yena ke ngesikhathi kade bebona lokhu ke kade khona ke ezinye imoto kade zikhona ke lapho ke ngesikhathi kade bemphelekeza ke lapho ke athi kwamba wayibona sekafika lapho ke eshara ke moto lena ke befika lapho ke Valeria police station.
God, please, my lord, it's almost time for the long adjournment. Can we take the long adjournment at this point? It's about 4 minutes to 1.
Okay. 2 o'clock then.